Yes, indeed. We are live here at the United Hour. And I mean, Ten Hag is here, you know? So we're going to be talking about conference. We're also going to be talking about the interview that he had at Manchester United. We're supposed to have some other guests on the inside. I am President Chad. But let's start off with the man CJ
Hey,
and, Rahul, the original and the only number 7. How you gentlemen doing?
good.
You
Sahara,
know, I
don't
want to
start
start it
it.
off. We want to say good afternoon to Martin Phillip inside in the comments already. Let's start it off talking
Yeah,
a little bit
yeah,
about
Martin.
the things that we all interested in, right? We ain't going to start off with the fluffy stuff. Let's get to the brass tacks. He was asked about Cristiano Ronaldo and if Cristiano Ronaldo fits into his plans. And he said, very short word, very straightforward. He said, of course. Then he was asked, well, what does Ronaldo bring? He said, well, goals. Um, and then he was also asked, what else do you expect from Ronaldo? Leadership, other things. And he said something interesting. He said, I'll first talk to Ronaldo, and then I will talk to you. And I'm not specifically the reporter, but the press, right? And
Yeah.
I want to get you all thoughts. What do you all think about not so much the responses, because the responses were very straightforward, but what do you get from what he said, especially the last statement that I first will talk with Ronaldo and then I will talk to you all. I will we'll check you out first, Raul. Good afternoon to Osborne and Valentino Singh also on the inside. So
Yeah.
what are your impression about what he said concerning Ronaldo?
Afternoon, folks. Afternoon, folks. Tino, big shout to you, my big brother. You all hear me clearly, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
Yeah. So, in terms of Ronaldo, which is it's good to know that he's in the plans. One, two. Just a general of what I get from Ten Hag is that he means business, and as you say, he's not about the fluff. He's about getting straight to the point and what needs to be done. And he's very correct in saying that you'll have a conversation with Ronaldo simply because one, he's getting up in age. Two, but he's a consummate professional. So he's there, he's obviously gonna have that discussion on what his role is going to be for this team and this club for the time that he is there still. That's what I get from it. And he's not going to show his hand. Ten Hag is not going to show his hand just like that and come out and say something that in the hope of he talking facts. And this is what and I like that he remind me of another red man who have a group called Foot Talk. Hey Trevor, what is this scene, boy?
see, you were as fed up all, you know.
Good
I got a
afternoon.
Good
Good
afternoon,
good
yes,
afternoon, my
afternoon.
man.
brother
Good
Trevor.
afternoon, gents. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to Peter Lewis in the comments as well. CJ, just to deflect a little bit away from the press conference, it seems like everything. I mean, there was so much leaks going on coming to the throughout the season, especially during Ralph's tenure. Um, Yet it seemed like it had a massive dump on online today of all kind of everything from the whole incident with the Martial situation when Ralph said that he said he couldn't come to training, to the Jesse situation, to stuff with Ronaldo, to stuff with Bailly. It seemed like a massive dump, right? Like, agents and players were like, yeah, well, we out of there. So we could just see all kind of stuff. Now I bring that up to specifically connect with the Ronaldo question. Because one of the things that was said is that Ronaldo used to be kicking up a fuss when he didn't play. And there was a feeling among some of the players that when Ronaldo claimed that, especially the hip injury, And when he claimed he had a hip injury, it was because he wasn't on the starting lineup. And on one particular occasion, when Ralph was considering it, keeping him out of the game, one of the games against Young Boys, he said pretty simply is either is either you're starting or I'm not going. Because what sense it makes saying on the bench for 3 hours in the cold? It's not good for my health. No, I don't know, eh? If I am a teammate of a man and a man tell me, hey, it don't make sense me going and sit on the bench, and I thinking to myself, but wait, there's only 11 men starting, most of the team going and be on the bench. I wouldn't really appreciate that. But nonetheless, that's Cristiano Ronaldo. So obviously, Ten Hag would have read these things. Possibly if there's any truth to those things, and I have heard that from multiple sources, that a lot of times when Ronaldo's name is not on the starting list, that he just wouldn't go to the game. He'll just take the complete day off. Uh Ralph, Ten Hag would obviously been hearing this information from Ralph. Do you think that his response in terms of I have to talk to Ronaldo first and not just blanketly saying, I mean, yes, he said, of course, Ronaldo is in his plans, but he didn't harp on it. A lot of people will harp on the stars and go on and on, oh, look at what Ronaldo has done, and Ronaldo this and Ronaldo that. He didn't harp on it. Yes, Ronaldo in my plans. What does Ronaldo bring? Goals. What you expect from him next season? Let me talk to Ronaldo first.
Goals.
You know,
He expect goals.
so I gained the impression that Ronaldo's future with the club is not necessarily set in stone. You get that impression as well, CJ?
Honestly, I didn't really get much of an impression because for me, in the whole interview, he didn't dispel too much information to speculate anything. But for me, because I think he just said it out of professional because he saw that we were getting leaks and he was like, for me to now talk more information wouldn't make any sense. So I would talk to Ronaldo for that and then I'll get back to you. He was trying to say it like, hey, cool
So
yourself.
for you, he wasn't giving away anything. He
Nah, he
wasn't
was just
saying
like,
he wasn't
yeah,
hinting anything. He was just like, I ain't had nothing to say concerning Ronaldo
yeah,
future right
like the Ronaldo thing was, I'll let you know when I'll let you know.
He,
But
basic, he
who you are,
basically
let you know
told
until
him then,
then.
he basically get him a come down from there.
Yeah,
He get him a technical come down from there.
no, that's true. The man basically say, cool yourself, stay in your lane.
Trevor, you have anything to say about the Ronaldo's response before we head to talk about Harry Maguire?
Um, I don't think. Well, I know Ronaldo, his position secure. I don't think there's any issue with Ronaldo. What's you wanna you, he comes on board and he wants to answer to the media and he wants to answer to the press and he doesn't want to show favoritism. So you can't show favoritism to any player right now, right?
Mhm,
That was our problem in the past with Oli. That was our problem in the past with Josie, right? With
mhm,
showing favoritism to specific players and then airing dirty laundry and outing certain players. When you watch Ten Hag, when you watch him at Ajax, everybody gets a fair run and a chance to buy into Ten Hag's system. And United players, why they didn't want Ten Hag to come across is because they know that they have to adapt to his system. And if you don't, the exit is going to be shown to you. What we have seen throughout CR7's entire career is professionalism. First to the training ground, last to leave. And at a player who is at his age, with his body conditioning, with his stamina, with his drive, obviously he will still be in Ten Hag's plans. It's not a matter of not being in Ten Hag's plans. It's how do I fit this aging striker into a team with a mix of youth and a mix of experience, and not only that, some who I know not going to cut the mustard, so they'll have to be shown the door. Um, Ten Hag is a tactician. He's a mentalist, and to me, he will do the Fergie type. Be stern on you when he needs to be stern on you, and rest an arm around you when you need that arm around you. So I believe we have the right coaching position right now. And regarding Ronaldo, for him to even stay with United to battle through Europa to see United to come back to the forefront is akin to what Zlatan has just did for AC Milan, saying, I will not leave this club until I win a piece of silverware. And then you see AC Milan coming and winning the Scudetto. You know, Zlatan gave a very inspirational speech akin to what Ronaldo does for Portugal and what he has done for United and that United youth team that just won the FA Cup. He sent a video message to the youths, inspiring them, on the win. So yeah, I don't see an issue with CR7. I see a issue with other players, United players, being as professional as he is, dedicated as he is, and want to win and passionate as he is.
I mean, one of the things I observed with that Ajax team is, you got a real sense of passion from them and real appreciation towards the manager. The same way Liverpool players tend to appreciate Klopp. Something that is distinctly different to this relationship between City players and Pep, for example. That seems to be way more of a professional relationship than something more friendly. But Ten Hag, but then we have to also remember that Ajax had a lot of young players and is a different setup. We have a lot of United players that seem to feel they're big and there's it. So let's see how that goes in the future. Good afternoon to Peter and Nigel falling in. So he was asked about Harry Maguire, and he was asked his thoughts on Harry Maguire and will Harry Maguire be the captain next season? And Ten Hag said next season is a different season. He said about Harry that he has done a great job. He's a great player and looking forward to work with him. When I hear that response, he started off, as I said, by saying next season is a different season,
Politically correct, sorry.
which tells me that he's saying, watch, I don't ask him about who's the captain. I will decide who's the captain next season. This season have nothing to do with next season. This season have nothing to do with next season. That is the impression I get.
That come like, to be honest, it come like when somebody asks me, if somebody, that's like somebody asked me about Bacchanal work last week, and there's a new week to ask me about that. Kind of my business. You deal about that. It's a new week.
And
Yeah, but you challenge for you CJ, you being sensory back now.
No, I don't be in center, no Bacchanal. I be center any lunchroom eating my lunch. I don't be nowhere. Nowhere.
And the other thing about it is simply this: even if, and as I think Trevor was talking about Ten Hag's straightforwardness and his being a mentalist, even if you don't like Harry Maguire, even if your plan is to sell Harry Maguire, why would you want to say something bad about him at this point to take down his resale value? Whether he's going to be here, whether he's not going to be here, you had to say something good about him. There's no sense in saying anything bad, and you haven't even spoken to the guy as yet, right?
Again, there's a situation where you don't want to show favoritism, so you're not gonna throw anybody under the bus. That is tactless, akin to Mourinho and his throwing players under the bus when they don't meet.
The truth be told, Mourinho only started to throw players under the bus when he actually got there. I don't remember Mourinho being toxic in his first press conference.
Well, that's what I mean. You can't be.
So
but
so
everybody
we
would have
expect him
witnessed,
to be professional at this point.
right? Everybody would have witnessed the debacle that Harry Maguire has been for the past 2 seasons.
Exactly. And on top
Right.
of it,
So it's not like it didn't fall on Ten Hag's eyes, and for the media to be asking, the media know what everybody has been speculating about Harry for quite some time. So again, he's just trying to not show favoritism. Yeah,
I just wanna add one point to this whole discussion here. Ten Hag don't have to say anything bad about Harry.
no,
As you alluded to dropping his resale value. I think Harry has done quite a good job himself of doing that.
Exactly.
I want to read Peter Lewis' statement here. I find it very, very interesting. He said Ten Hag is like the Sith Lord,
Facts.
diplomatic in public, but in the background he making chess moves. He knows he have to work with some of them at least for 1 year, and that is the truth. That is the
No, but
truth. And then
also
one of the
too.
things, let me just make this clear. Ten Hag was asked about what is going to happen next and if he's spoken to any of the players. And Ten Hag said no. He hasn't spoken to any of the players, and he don't intend to speak to any of the players right now. His exact words were the players need time to rest and to reflect. And I found that very interesting that he said, the players need time to reflect. And then he will speak to the players at the end of June. Some players, I guess the ones who are more important or the ones who may have question marks or whether they're staying or they're going, on June, and then the rest of the players at the beginning of July. And that tells me that he knows also how to play the game. He didn't even single out Cristiano Ronaldo and said, well, yeah, I'll talk to. No. He said he's not talking to any of the players. No. Players need time to rest and reflect. Let them go and take the rest. I will talk to them at the end of June. We know that Manchester United are plotting their transfer plans and already putting things in place transfer-wise all now. So he is, as Peter Lewis is alluding to, making his moves even before he talks to the players. He knows who he wants to bring in. He knows what he's doing, but he will talk to the players later. And I also think he's giving the players time to stew and think about the tragedy of the season that has passed. So by the time he talked to them, they would really have a mindset as to what they want to do going forward. How does anybody else see it?
It come like basically he doing the thing that we needed, but what people didn't understand what we need. You can't have, as somebody said, everybody are back now, but you can't have your business all over the road. And see if people know your business and know everything, then you'll be able to move properly. So for me, Ten Hag moving in silence is good for him and good for the club. Because, for example, remember when David Moyes used to announce what players we were going for, and he was talking about the Tony Cruz deal, and he was talking about the Fabregas deal. I ended up with nothing. Whereas with Ten Hag, he's making his plans. He doesn't need to tell anybody his plans. He knows to himself, I want to do this, so I'm going to do this. I don't need to tell anybody I'm going to do this. And I think it takes less pressure off of him because now he could just work over silence. Speculation is speculation. You see, when people guessing what you're going to do, we just hear like, okay, let me go and do my work. Nobody know my business. I'm moving on. So I think in this time at least he wants to limit the public information as much as he can, so the club could get back to some kind of normalcy.
Trevor, one of the things I observe um, is that since Ten Hag has officially landed in Manchester, today is Monday. I think that was last week, Tuesday or Wednesday, right? You went to London first. So since you officially landed in the UK, you went straight to the London office. We've been hearing talk on the United Hour that there's a war room set up in the London office with Ten Hag, Mota, and some of the other key figures in terms of working on transfers and stuff, right? But we haven't, since Ten Hag has reached, I have observed that I haven't heard one leak about a player Manchester United is linked to. Now, that could either be one or two things. That is either that they are running a tighter ship now that the likes of Ed, Judge, and some of the other people have left, or that they ain't doing any transfer business as yet. And I tend to lean towards the first one, that, Ten Hag is running a tighter ship than was run under Ed. Somebody even hinted on social media that maybe Ed used to be intentionally leaking stuff to get clicks from Manchester United, and since Ed gone, the leaks concerning players United going after have kind of diminished. You observe that as well?
The thing is, under the Glazers, they wanted to set a yes men in tow. So Ed coming from the banking sector, Ed was only considering finance. He didn't care about or know about too much about the wheelings and dealings of football and or proper scouting, proper tactics, which is why you would find when we were purchasing players, we were paying, for example, at Fellaini, we could have gotten him for $2 or $3 million cheaper. We end up paying $2 or $3 million more for him, you know. So under Ed, where he was great at securing commercial deals, he was horrible with regards to transfer negotiations and or securing players and personnel. With Ten Hag, one of his contingencies for coming on board is controlling the transfer space, is the ability to negotiate deals, the ability to tell the board what players he wants and go after and secure, and also have a tighter integration with the scouting. So you would find now with Ten Hag, if I want X player, a player from Ajax, a player from Milan, a player from anywhere, he would now start speaking to the relevant personnel, the DOF for that club, and start putting things in place.
Stick up in,
Whereas,
stick up in, Trevor. I want to
uh,
ask you this question, coming out of what you just said there, and something I observed. Do you think that part of the hastened exit of Matt Judge and the hastened exit of the two senior most people responsible for scouting, do you think that was part of the conversation held
that
with
was
Ten
part
Hag
of
and
the
the club?
conversation because they
That
would have been part of the cancer.
right. So
So
do
that
you
was
think
part
that
of the
Ten Hag was
conversation.
said to the ownership and said to Richard Arnold, here what's going on? I need this kind of control, and those guys need to go. And the club doing that because he made it. Ten Hag spoke repeatedly about the fact that he has had positive meetings and he is confident in the project and he's confident he will be supported. Do you think in Ten Hag's mind he is seeing the club taking the necessary actions already to set him
Of
up to
course, of course, with what
Agreed.
himself resigning after that whole league, that the Super League that they wanted to create, which was a whole mess, right? And would pushing that initiative all again based on a
Money.
fiscal and financial earning standpoint. You know, getting rid of these yes men and these men who inept. They're not versed in their jobs. You know,
They don't understand
so
the culture of football.
right, and that as well too. So getting rid
They
of
will run it
these
as a
men.
business more than a football club.
Well, you have to do both, as a matter of fact. And you see, when that's the business deals
Mhm.
and forgetting the football aspect, the sponsorship that you're going to gain is predicated on us winning on the pitch. And if you're
Mhm.
not winning on the pitch, yes, you're going to secure sponsorship deals, but your brand is going to be watered down and you're going to have lesser value. Man United was religiously in the top three in the Forbes list of richest football clubs globally. Now we are dropped out of the top three.
not
Again, it's
not
because
not,
we are
not
not
just football clubs, richest sporting
Teams.
sporting
entities
entities,
in
right?
the
We
whole
were
in the
In,
whole world.
but
we were next to Dallas
in the
Cowboys
sporting
actually.
club fraternity, since they started to introduce the metrics of richest football sporting clubs, it was Barcelona, Real Madrid, Man United. Man United was number one at some point in time, and then we fell to Barca, and then we fell to Madrid, and so on and so forth. It was always that top three. Now Bayern has taken the top third spot, and we have fallen out of the top three, and that hasn't happened, you know. And again, that these things will be happening because we are not winning on the pitch. Our brand is watered down. There's less confidence in sponsors wanting to give us top dollar to be represented on our shirts, and so on and so forth.
So I wanna jump into a softball question that he was asked. Ten Hag was asked how he feels about Manchester, the city, the stadium, the club, and was it his favorite club growing up? And Ten Hag said he feels great. One of the things that stood out to me, both in his interview at Manchester United and his press conference, he used the word he felt at home more than once. And it stood out to me because he wasn't really asked that question. He wasn't asked, do you feel at home here to Holland? But he used that of his own volition, that he feels at home. And that stood out to me. One, he said, he loves Old Trafford, he loves the stadium, he can't wait to play there, he can't wait to experience the fans there. And he also said that growing up, he, like myself, because I was like that when I was younger, he said every country he would have a favorite team, and Manchester United was his favorite team in England, right? So Raul, when you hear those kind of responses, does that give you little butterflies on the inside, on the sense that we have a man here who have a greater connection to the club than just a job to get paid?
Yes. Simply because one, if you watch Ajax, how Ajax fans really operate and how United fans operate is similar. I don't know if I'll ever really pick up that. They do. Die hard no matter what. Yes, fans die hard, but there's a certain level of ilk in between when you look at United fans and Ajax fans. Even AC Milan fans. If you don't get in, you don't hear those fans getting involved in the too much of these silly raps and calling other teams names and all those kind of things. So that in
Guys,
one
guys,
aspect,
guys,
yes,
guys,
and,
guys big team fans. Big team fans is be different.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you want to be big teams anyway. So but yes, but him using home and just I guess the field because probably in Ajax, in Amsterdam, the city, the similarities in probably how it's set up and the feel for him and him coming home to that because oh gosh, if he following United from since he's young, he understands he has that understanding of what the fans give, what the atmosphere is like. And probably within his himself, never even thought he would have had that opportunity to come to coach at the club.
Hmm.
So now it can be like a small dream or a pepper, a mustard seed that he may have had that has now come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
So
True.
and he is a consummate professional. He's a professional, yes, but he's a professional with passion.
CJ,
If you follow what I say.
yeah. So CJ, one of the questions he was asked was, did he speak to Louis Van Gaal? We all remember Louis Van Gaal said that Manchester United is a corporate club and is not a football club. So he was asked directly, did he speak to Louis Van Gaal? Did he speak to Daley Blind? Did he speak to people who um former players and who have a relationship, who would have played and worked at Manchester United? Did he speak to these people? And he said yes. He has spoken to Louis Van Gaal directly about the Manchester United job, and he has spoken to other people, but he take on board some of the stuff that they would have said, but ultimately he makes his own decisions and he will draw his own conclusions. As far as being a commercial club, he said every football club, you have to have the commercial aspect because you need money to invest and into the squad and so forth. So you have to have the commercial aspect and you have to have the football aspect. And
Mm-hmm.
right now, Manchester United is football 1, 2, and 3. And when he said it, a light bulb went on in my head because I
Like
think we could, for the first time since Sir Alex left, we could honestly say that football is 1, 2, and 3. Richard Arnold has made it clear he's going to focus on the commercial side and let John Mota do his job as director of football and deal with the coach and the technical director and deal with the football side. I don't think if somebody made this statement, if we heard Ed or anybody else making this statement 3 months ago, I think all of us would have laughed and say, yeah, that's just propaganda and old talk. We talking about football is 1, 2, and 3. But when I heard Ten Hag say today, I was like, he might actually be right. What was your thoughts on his responses to that question?
Honestly, when he answered the question, it kind of made me think with the discussions of how we had on Van Hal and Dali Blinn. Maybe that's how he platformed his contract because he probably saw that. But wait now, these fellas weren't bad managers. I know Louis is not terrible manager per se, but these men weren't getting the backing they were going to, and they were in a system that was made to fail. So what I'm going to do is when they ask for my services, I am going to demand that you fix the system so I can't fail. And that's what he did. He looked at it like, the problem is not just managing or the players, it's the system, the backroom staff, it's the guys who don't know football controlling the football, controlling our deals, controlling how we are run as a club. So for me, it kind of made me feel like, wait, I'm not going to get hyped now, but wait, this man really setting himself up so that God forbid if he fails, it's on him, not the club, because the system is fixed. We saw a clear out. Maybe real. We got a clear out of people who not supposed to be there, people who not supposed to be managing Manchester United, who not supposed to be around football in any shape or form. In fact, I kind of hope none of these guys get jobs anywhere else. Sorry to say, like no, like I really sorry. Like I see one fella who was doing deals and broken, and he didn't even have a proper trim. Now note, I ain't got a trim yet. But how you go let a man managing money and he can't manage his hairline? I don't understand that. Something right.
Bro,
Why,
all I
boy?
had to
Why?
say, all I had to say is that, I am sure these guys going to get jobs, but I don't think any of them
Rogaine
going
is
to
not
get
a
jobs in
sponsor.
football. They're going to get jobs in exactly what they are good at, which is
Yeah,
banking.
yeah,
Um,
please.
Trevor, when you hear the man, when you hear Ten Hag talk about, yes, I spoke to directly to LVG. I'm sure he would have spoken to Van der Sar as well, spoken to
Yeah.
Daily Blind. When you hear him say he didn't shy away, he would have spoken to these guys. We know LVG didn't hold any water in his mouth.
Nope.
So one of the things we sure about is Van Gaal not coming to Manchester United with his head in the ground. He knows
Ten Hag,
exactly.
eh? Ten Hag.
Ten Hag, sorry. Ten Hag is not coming to Manchester United with his head in the ground. He knows exactly what the situation is at the club. And he, as you alluded to earlier, laid his cards on the table. This is what I want done. The Richard Arnold and the ownership said no problem, like clear the deck for you. But does that make you feel more confident in him knowing that he's coming with his eyes wide open? He knows exactly what is going on here.
Which is why he put contingencies in place. And if you didn't meet my contingencies, I wasn't signing. You see, having yes men under the fold as managers or backroom staff would have meant that the Glazers were able to pull strings as they saw fit. And how they saw fit is if you made top four and you made it into Champions League, we're going to get that sponsorship money. So when we get that sponsorship money and you perform or do perform in Champions League or whatever, that money is still guaranteed. And when you make top four, you're making $100 million guaranteed on your Premier League monies, your TV rights, and so on and so forth. So the Glazers knew what they were doing by having Yorkmen under them. However, when they failed to make top four and they failed to get into Europe, you would see them spend a boatload of money now based on whatever management and whatever vision that they had at the point in time to bring players in the fold to try and bring us back up to scratch. But the Glazers' minimum, or I should say maximum minimum, was top four. There was no ambition to continuously win on the pitch, right? Ten Hag is not that coach. He is not a yes man, and he intends to bring Manchester United to the glory where it once was. So to do that, I need to not have yes man in the fold. I need to have my people who see the vision of the club. You see, Manchester is a city. Is an industrial city, right? If you hear all the older stories of all the older Manchester United fans, right, they would come from a hard week work where they grinding on mills or they grinding right on dockyards and so on and so forth, right? Steel, iron, blackness under their nails to come and watch United play. And you think I want to watch LVG play humdrum football where we scoring 1 goal a game and we drawing 1-1, more draws than Victoria's Secret for a season? No. I want to see
a thousand and something passes and 5
there's
attempts.
a million on one pass, back pass, back pass, back pass, back pass. Right? No, I don't want to see that. I want to see attractive football that what Manchester United was built on with the Busby Babes and also with SAF. Right?
Mhm.
So Ten Hag now speaking to the Manchester United people, saying that I love the city, to speaking to the people who spending their hard-earned pounds to come and see this team play and not play atrocious, piss poor football that we witnessed this season. Right? He said that team came second last season, so there's a team inside there, right? So the
He
mentality
repeated that.
needs
He
to
repeated
change.
that more
Yeah,
than
the
once.
mentality needs to change. You cannot have players on £140,000 a week, right? And pulling stones when you
This
know
is
there are players
this is
willing to accept 40 and £50,000 to come in and play and kill themselves off for the badge. So the
You, you know,
mentality needs to change and the yes men need to change.
one of the things, and it came to my mind when you were speaking, is something I've thought about. Clearly, a lot of Ten Hag's request wasn't just, yeah, well, my salary. It wasn't just a player list. You know, it wasn't just how much money we spending in the transfer window. A lot of what Ten Hag would have asked for, clearly we are realizing now, without him saying too much about those meetings, other than saying they were good and the club is moving in the right direction, was also backroom stuff. Because one of the things I'm wondering is if the club is going to move in the conscious direction to pull down its player wages. Because Manchester United have balloon wages. You know, when you look at the money Manchester United have spent over the last 10 years, 5 years, even 3 years, compared to everybody else, we are in the top 5 in terms of money spent. And we have the least amount of trophies,
we
right?
know
The least
we in top
amount of
five.
return
We in
to
top five
anybody
and
else,
can't even make the top four.
Lowest ROI, lowest ROI.
right? So I don't know. I haven't heard anybody. Nobody has asked him. Nobody has asked Murta these questions. But I seriously suspect that one of the things the club is also going to be looking to do is bring down that wage bill. I don't think we're going to be rushing to sign the likes of another Paul Pogba or even a Jadon
Mm-mm.
Sancho. You may be
From
talented, but you can't come here and your first contract is $200,000+.
from
That a week.
no,
That I don't expect to see that happen in this
that's the
transfer
thing.
window or the next.
No, but that's the thing. From reports I got from reading on Twitter and also looking at articles and looking up things, it's not going to be like a big spending, big name season. You know, it's going to be players who are talented, who are technical, and who are willing to go at it. Because if you look at it, we've when remember when Avram Glazer said we've always spent money, and you say that's a lie, and Trevor he said how he spoke his truth.
He spoke his truth.
Yeah. The crazy thing is, I tell myself when I watch it, I was like, correction. You spent money, but you didn't spend money well. You didn't spend money well.
Yeah,
Look,
but we can't blame the Glazers for that.
no, I don't blame the Glazers. It's just I'm saying generally, money was
Yes,
spent.
I could blame the Glazers for that, for putting poor people under them who's supposed to be doing proper scouting and who's supposed to be working on transfer deals. I put the Glazers at fault for putting those people and them in place underneath Woodward and so on and so forth. I blame them.
No, we could blame them for putting the likes of Ed Woodward. Woodward more likely than not chose his team. But we could blame them for putting Ed there. But when they are approached, you know, there was never a time we that Ed seemingly wanted something done and he approached them that they told him no. So we can't blame them for spending money. They spending money. Siraj is saying that United need a complete reshuffle. Well,
We
United has
getting
had a
that.
complete
We
reshuffle.
getting that, Raj.
So, you know, we let's see the results of it. Raul, he was asked, you know, if he feels confident about turning around Manchester United. And he said that he has a very good feeling about the club, he has a good feeling about the people he's working around now. I believe specifically he's talking about the likes of John Walker and Richard Arnold when he said that. He also said that the meetings have been very positive, has been very constructive, which also tells me that he is seeing the club moving in the direction he wants where transfers are concerned. And that he's excited, that is all about execution now, right? So what the meetings and everything is positive. What he wanted happening in the back room happened. Now is about the club executing and following through, meaning that it's not just one transfer window, but is a building, a process, as we would have seen with Klopp. It didn't happen in 1, 2, 3, or even 4 seasons with Klopp, but every season they kept improving. And then he was asked, what exactly is the plan? And to which he laughed. And he said, and if I'm not going to tell you what the plan is, I'll have to talk to my staff. We're going to talk to the players, and you're going to see the plan executed. But do you feel, when you hear Ten Hag talk about these things, do you feel a sense of confidence, looking at the future of Manchester United, looking next season and beyond?
I don't have this stat offhand, and I can't Google it right now. I'm trying to balance my phone on the steering wheel here. Don't worry, I'm parked. I reach home. I'm outside my house. Right. Thank you. It was great. This has been a great company coming on the road. All we need to look at is the number of titles he's won with Ajax and how well he's done at Ajax.
In 4 seasons, he won 3 titles. Well, league titles. He won other trophies as well.
Yes. So all I'm saying is, we do not. If we don't have confidence in the fact that the man is a professional, and we've been alluding to it, where he's holding his cards close to his chest, where you can't see. I love the fact that he's not divulging anything. They're just all he's saying is that we're going to speak. We're going to speak. And let's see it all unfold. That is what has me excited. That is why I said, and I've said this before, I've said it in your group, I've said it in Trevor's group, I've said it here. I expect probably a 5th place next season, depending, because all the pieces not going to be in place.
Nope.
But you see, the 2023, 24 season, we are going to lift some form of silverware. Even if it is a plate or a spoon cup, it is going to be something for us, the fans, to be able to celebrate. Because the man is coming with a plan, and that the right people are in place now to be able to support that plan. And if the plan is anything based on how he set his plan and worked with Ajax to get Ajax where they are, and the success he has, what's going to be different here? Especially as everything you all have spoken about before, in terms of clearing way so that he can do what he has to do, together with the right people in the right positions to ensure that the football is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Okay, he stopped at 3. I going up to 5. One point I also wanted to make before and on this, the way he operates, and don't be surprised if you hear he went to meet so-and-so player. He had this meeting with the player. A la how Sir Alex used to do it. There are certain similarities.
I wanna throw this out there. He was asked about the fact that what this particular journalist asked, I found very interesting, because I hear it in journalistic circles, right? The journalist was saying that there's a perception in England right now, in English football, that City and Liverpool, that Pep and Klopp ruling the roost, and that nobody else wouldn't be able to rule the roost until one of those two exits on stage left, right? Until one of them leave, it is pretty much Pep and Klopp going to be fighting for 1 and 2 for the
Sorry.
perceivable future until one of them leave. And he said that he has a lot of respect for what Pep and Klopp has done. He has a lot of respect for them as individuals, as managers, but eras come to an end.
He listened to some Dread Vibes Cartel before he come in that interview. I swear. That was a
He
real
was
gunman
talking
talk.
facts. Football is
That
a
was real
cycle.
gunman talk, boy.
Go ahead,
Me
It
and
Trevor.
wasn't
Go
Sam.
ahead.
gunman talk. It wasn't gunman talk. He was being honest.
No, he
Football
was
is a
being honest.
cycle. So with this era, this cycle will come to an end. As with anything, United had a cycle. We were dominant for however long. Livers had a cycle before that. They were dominant however long. United was dominant before that, and so on and so forth. It's a cycle. So he was being honest. He said, I love the two of them. They play the best, most attractive football out of England right now. But eras come to an end. And not only that, he's also saying that he wants to position Man United back into the equation.
And
It's twofold.
he talking like a man who very much knows what he wants to do and very confident. And many people saying, I heard people saying how, wait boy, he real brave for a man who could fail. But in life you could fail in anything. So why not be confident about it? I don't understand that. It and the thing is like yes, he could have been humble about it, and people would have still clown him, but the man tell himself, listen, I can't walk into this not sure because guess what? The players go think I unsure. I have to be sure about what I want to do and what I want to accomplish. And if it's that he wants to accomplish, he telling himself, I'm going to put it out there, so I'm going to work the hardest I could work and get things done.
It reminds me of the statement that Sir Alex made about knocking Liverpool off the bleeping
Okay.
perch.
Yep.
And now that was made after he did it. Now, when you hear a man make that statement, clearly in Sir Alex's mind, that was his ambition for a while. And when he achieved it, he vocalized it. Now you have a situation where you get the impression Ten Hag is saying, well, yeah, but these fellas might be ruling the roost now, but era's end. And I could definitely take Manchester United into being in the mix of mashing that up. Because one of the questions I've been asking myself looking at next season is who is going to challenge. Note I said just challenge. I didn't necessarily say win, but who's going to challenge Liverpool and City, because Chelsea just looks so dysfunctional. And I don't know with the likes of Spurs and Arsenal having European football, I am not sure those squads are deep enough to do it on two big fronts. So who knows? One last question before I get into the final round of conversation, and is this: coming into looking at Ten Hag next season, Siraj mentioned it, Carlton mentioned it. They say they're not really building up. They don't have high expectations of Manchester next season. I think all of us would admit we need to give Ten Hag time.
Mm-hmm.
But listening to Ten Hag today, he spoke about finishing in the Champions League places, right? He talked about that from his perspective that Manchester United should be playing Champions League football. He, put that pressure upon himself, right? So, do you all, I want to know, are any of you all going to be holding him to that if he falls short of that next season? Considering that he has said of himself that he wants Manchester United to be playing Champions League football. Or so either we don't finish in the top four or we don't win the Europa Cup. The bottom line is at the end of the season, next season, we're not in Champions League. Even if it's just we finished fifth, would you all be disappointed in that?
How do you go from second? How do you go from second to sixth with the same squad, with the
A better
additions
squad.
of Cristiano Ronaldo and Rafael Varane? How? H
You know what?
O
Egos,
Huh?
egos, egos,
Oh, Raul
egos, egos came into play. Egos,
Yes.
hold on.
Not only
Egos came into play, and
not only
and
egos,
and
money.
I am being honest.
Egos,
I am being
money, the
honest.
contracts, everything.
Yeah,
Right?
but apart from that,
So
What we not looking at?
a coach in place here now, just now, Raul. You get a coach in place here now, right? Who is going to stamp ego out? He's also now going to try and stabilize the club as it pertains to players and wages. So you're not going to have a situation where Pogba holding the whole club to ransom with Raiola. God, rest in peace, Raiola, right? The only reason that Pogba is going across to Juventus, right, is because Raiola is no longer with us. Because he would have continued to hold the club to ransom, coming all the way down to the end of the transfer window to get a big payday to go elsewhere. Do you know that he is going to play for Juventus if he gets through
For less
for
money.
about half of the salary that he's making here now? So all that hullabaloo that you carry on here to make more money to say that you're the highest paid player on United roster over David De Gea, who deserve the only player who deserve to be making, well, him and Cristiano, right? His 350K a week. Whereas the rest of them have been pissed poor for seasons. Not consistent for seasons, right? Not dependable for seasons. So you're going to have a coach here now who's going to stamp out that whole money culture. You have the same players that you had that got your second 2 years ago. That's why he reiterated it, right? To come and play here now. And I will talk to Carlton here. Um, when Mourinho came in, he was confident. Mourinho was on the out. Mourinho has been Jurassic for a bit, right? I was never confident when Mourinho came across United. I didn't want him to come across to United. I knew he was a 2 or 3 season coach, and then boom, that powder keg would explode. So said, so done. So I knew he was, and then when Ralph came, everybody knew Ralph was a stopgap. He said he was coming here to be a stopgap to go up to the boardroom. So I didn't expect nothing from Ralph either. You cannot come here in 2 years and turn around our entire club with the backroom issues that we have in, with the player issues that we have in, right? And turn around. So he has been that stopgap to Ten Hag. Ten Hag now has signed a 5-year contract to change things around at United, right? He will get my time, he will get my patience, and we will see the results with Ten Hag.
And also too, what people need to understand, what and it's kind of weird to me, yeah, how people say, well, and I say too, we don't have no set of dreams, no grand dreams, but at the same time, it's okay to want the man to do good. It's okay to feel good about something because again, any day, he needs a chance. He needs to fail. He needs to learn. I don't like to use the comparison, but look at Klopp. Klopp first 3 seasons wasn't really anything special. It was kind of terrible when you look at it. But at the end of the day, it's a process. And I think United fans tend to forget that if you want something long term, your coach have to go through some kind of bumps so he could learn and he could put things in place.
And when you look at the history of Sir Alex, CJ,
exactly, and I was going to that.
We really shouldn't forget that. As United fans, we shouldn't.
That is why, CJ, that is why you would see in the various groups that I'm in, I don't care. I chastise these fickle glass fans, the wagonists that we have supporting our club, because they only looking at, they want instant success. Look at this one, do that. The microwave complex. You want food? No, you want it warm, put it in the microwave. You want success?
Exactly.
Put it in the spot in microwave. It does not work like that. That's why when all these Chelsea fans, the Arsenal fans, these people want to be giving us talk. Look at example. I went yesterday to meet Orange for his in Europe. So with Shavana and think to look at the place how we laying it out. Shavana boyfriend is Barca. He wind down his window to point and laugh at me. I say, what are you laughing at? I say, you is the one who was supposed to wear a whole Manchester United shirt for a season. And what you do? I say, your side barely come second. I say, come now, man. I say, we know what we were expecting. I said, you can't give me no talk. I say, because your time is done. And it's going to be a while before you get something again.
Also,
Javi understands the DNA of Barca. Barca was 6th or 7th and in the doldrums, and they had to get rid of that coach to bring Xavi on board to change and turn around their fortunes. And they were lucky they were able to do it mid-season onward, right? With United, we are getting a coach who understands our DNA, who understands our culture, where you had Ole playing 4-2-3-1 and showing favoritism to specific players. You're not going to get that with Ten Hag.
And
When
elite
Ralph,
clubs.
when Ralph came on board, right, he tried to change his system to 4-2-2-2, right? And then he also changed his system to 4-4-3-2, 4-2-2-1, right? And then he ended up bouncing back now into the same 4-2-3-1 system that the players and them had grown accustomed to under Ole, where they were underperforming coming down to the tail end of Ole's reign. So it goes to show you the cancer of the players, the cancer of the culture, the cancer of the club. And
Exactly.
Ten Hag is going to change all of that.
The one thing I would say is this. When a man come in an organization and before he walk through the door, he say, hey, what's going on? You see these guys responsible for these responsibilities, they're not working, get rid of them. And the club takes on board what he says and say, yes, we want you. You get rid of them. Get rid of the person responsible for transfer negotiations. We get rid of the chief scout. We get rid of the number 2 chief scout. We get rid of people out the door, right? When you see that happening, I am happy about that because it tells me that when he walk into the boardroom and after he have his meetings with the players and whatever, and he start to have his training sessions, and whoever not buying in, and he come and he drop a list on the table and say, yeah, see all them players there, sell them. I am very confident because it is a lot harder, it seems, for an organization to move executives than it is for them to sell players. And if the club is willing to move the executives, I see that the club would be willing to move the players. So if these players don't shape up, as Trevor has said, I really think they will be on the way out. So
look at what Thornton is saying there in the bottom here. The players didn't respect Ralph. They complain about his training methods. One, he wanted to play a high intensity for 90 minutes, high press, right? And two, I heard somebody was calling this man Specs. There was some talk in the back room that the joke was one of the players was calling Ralph Specs. Them fellas didn't respect Ralph. Them fellas didn't respect the system that he tried to implement. They forced him to go back to the old system that they gained accustomed to, right? So no, that whole culture, player culture, control, that's going to change.
And I hope they recognize that, because if they don't recognize it, they will learn it the hard way.
The hard way. There are two things. As we on that, there are 2 things I expect to see happen. 2. In this off season, in pre-season, and into the next season. 1, a strengthening of our spine and getting the right players to the right position. Might be 2 or 3. It might be 2 or 3 alone right now. And then added to that, that proper integration of the youth who deserve the opportunity coming into the squad to mix with the experience. I think he has a grasp on how to manage players and how to the youth coming forward and things like that. And that is what I am looking at closely, because that is going to determine not only how well we do, but also the depth of our squad, which I should already say that first, because the depth of our squad is going to determine how well we do throughout all competitions.
Not only depth,
and then just Trevor, before you go, and I just want to say one more thing. Thank God Ten Hag is moving how he's moving and how nothing is leaking, so we don't have to hear a set of voice notes from a certain man in a certain group.
But you know, as you say that, you know what Ten Hag doing? It come like this. You ever see somebody who in a relationship and people asking them, when you and that girl so? Ten Hag just say, nah, we talking, you know. We talking. So you back and
Trevor, what that sound like, boy? Trevor, what that sound like? But that song like
Yeah, it's not like a certain manner, but I ain't gonna put him up so I ain't putting him up so I can't do that. But
You see, with that crop of youth players that we have from the coming up from the academy now, right? He could pull players up from there into our system, like what we did with Greenwood, what we did with Rashford,
yeah,
and Langer, and develop those players to make them first teamers where we don't need to go and spend no kind of galactical money, right? And if we had proper scouts, we would be getting deals like what we did. Chicharito, I think was 8 million. Jisung Park with some stupid money as well too,
yeah.
right? We
But
haven't
also
seen the likes of those. We haven't seen the likes of those players at all. And
also
why are we
remember
spending 17 and 20 mil on men like Pelestri and all these other fellas and them, and we're not going to use them? That's not
and
the core of our
and
club.
Ahmad.
No, it's been
Ahmad.
40 million on Ahmad. Not
Right?
not 30,
That is not the
40.
core. That is not the core of our clubs to be buying players to loan them out to do better for other teams. That has never been our DNA.
So Martin is asking, are all the players who created problem for Mourinho and Ralph out of the club, or are some of them still there? The
Mourinho
reality
created
is
his own
most of
problems.
them at the end of this season would be out.
the thing is, before Trevor say anything, that whole Mourinho argument, men don't understand. Two things could be right at the same time, I mean, yeah, it had some toxic players, but let we stop acting as if Mourinho wasn't.
Yeah, you can have toxic players and a toxic coach. And a
Exactly,
toxic boardroom. Three things could be true at the same time.
Exactly.
The
Because
club
here's
was
my
totally
thing.
dysfunctional at that point in time.
Because
All
here's my
right, guys,
thing.
I wanna bring it back to Ten Hag. We have also seen the first press conference. We've seen the first in-depth interview, well, at least the first half of the interview. Manchester United has gotten very smart with itself. They always cutting everything in twos when it comes to managers stuff, right? Because they know we all interested in lapping it up. So the question I have to go around to everybody, we'll start off with you, CJ, is simply this: what is your personal impression? You've seen his reaction to questions, you've seen his responses, you've seen what he says is his ambition, where he says he wants to take Manchester United back to. What is your personal takeaway after watching all of this? Go ahead.
Honestly, I'm not gonna put much pressure on him, but from the looks of it so far, the man, his head is on 100% Manchester United. It's not anywhere else. It's nothing else putting it on. He just wants to come and do his job. Even before that, you see, when I saw him, he didn't want to take a vacation. That showed me that he probably heard what was the problems and tell himself, "Yo, going on. I really don't want to wait long to do this. Let me just jump into the job and get accustomed early." So the process of making United a proper team again.
Making United great again? That is what we're going with next season, fellas.
Nah, due to certain things, let me ain't use that now.
Move on, CJ. Go ahead.
But, But for me, it really and truly, he wants to work the job. He wants to do it. We never saw much dedication from a manager in recent time. I don't know. We just saw men get a job, tell themselves, "I'll do my best," and they didn't really have a plan. They didn't really have a plan. They were not backed by a system that wasn't good. As Trevor said, it was a pack of yes men.
I think you say the right thing there. I don't think it's fair to say the managers that have come didn't have a plan. They were not backed. They were not supported.
Yeah, they probably had some plan, but it just wasn't backed. So for me, with this clear out and how he is determined to make it, like bringing his whole team together, Steve McLaren, Van de Gaag, it shows me that and the press conference, it shows me that he's here, and I personally believe in him. I'm going to say I believe in him. So yeah.
And what about you, Trevor? What's your personal feeling about Ten Hag so far?
Ready for the revolution. He's a a coach that likes to play attacking football. He knows that we as fans like attacking football. He had a system and a specific play style at Ajax. When you watch them play, even when they lose, it's very entertaining. It's high press, high intensity, forward passing ball. So he's coming with a system. When you watch our past 3 to 4 coaches, you can himself identify a play style and say, well, United has this play style. When you watch Ajax, you can identify a play style, and he's coming to implement that similar play style at United. So I'm very excited to see us play, win, lose, or draw. Once we play a high intensity, high press for 90 minutes, chase down the balls, close down the balls, play intellectual forward plays, try to pick defenses, unlock defenses, and so on and so forth. Use the wing space, get the balls forward instead of this long ball to Fellaini on his chest when Mourinho was there as a last resort. That was not that's not United way. That's not United DNA. So with him on board, I'm very excited to see United back with young players, attack-minded players, high press, high intensity, entertaining football, win, lose, or draw, where I could just kiss my badge and say, yes, my team put out their guts for 90 minutes. Win, lose, or draw, I taking that.
Facts.
Talk to me, Raul.
Well,
What was your personal impression? What is your takeaway from watching Raul?
As I alluded to it earlier, I've seen a lot in my time on the face of this earth when it comes to this club. I've seen highs, lows, a whole lot of bubble, and a whole lot of success.
Don't say bubble, leave that for Barca.
But in terms of what the era that we are now entering, where we as the fans have been saying for the last 6 years, this is what we need to do, and it is only now happening. We do not have a reason not to be excited, because it's finally coming to pass. And I just want this time to pass fast. I want June 27th to come. I want preseason. I want to see what's going on. I want to see men play. I want to see what he's going to put up. I want to see different use of the players. I just want to see, so that when that season starts, I could say, well, yes, here we go. I have my popcorn ready, and I'll always have my beers cool. Because my takeaway, this man, this is in his simplicity and professionalism, and what the club is doing, moving out of that archaic way that they had, realizing that they need to evolve, because we are one of the big clubs that has not taken that step to that evolution and change with the game of football.
True.
This is finally the steps in the right direction, from bringing Ralph and then now getting Ten Hag. It is the steps in the right direction. Let us just hope.
Some people will set a cracks.
Yeah, let us just hope now that, well, those cracks get bust wide open already, and they're going to, and they bust up the foundation and doing it over again, because we now have a new foundation at that level for the backroom staff, the scouting, everything. We can't change the Glazers, but let's say thank God that at least they're realizing that it's affecting the bottom line with the dollars. Do the right thing and you're gonna make more money. It's as simple as that.
True. The two things, you all touched on so many things, so I'm not going to repeat anything that you all said. There are two things that stood out to me apart from what you all spoke about. One was Ten Hag's dress yesterday, because he dressed like the queen of the ball. I know everybody coming to see me. Everybody was wearing a dark suit. He was wearing a light suit. And
Man was wearing the little Obama type suit he wear the one time to get vexed.
He didn't look out of place.
That sneakers too, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sneakers. I was like, but hey.
he didn't
Hey, look
look
you.
out of place at all. And when I look at how he dealt with the media, you know, you could see reporters doing what they're supposed to do, right? They're trying to ask sneaky questions to get little snippets to get him to say something out of the way. Like when they were asking about Ronaldo, when they were asking about Harry Maguire, you know, they want to get something to put on the front page. And Ralph, I keep saying Ralph. Ten Hag answered them straightforward, but shutting down any follow-up stupid question. You know what I mean? He moved like a professional. He didn't look like this was too much. We all remember the David Moyes' press conferences
Please
where
no.
clearly
The day the headlight press conferences.
where the chair was obviously too big for him.
Yeah,
Clearly,
boy.
right? We all remember the Van Gaal press
He,
conferences,
he
and to some
never
extent the Mourinho press conferences,
never
where
forget
their
when he
sense of
said,
aloofness, like almost like I am great in myself, not necessarily great coupled with the club.
I don't care
And
nobody
Ten Hag
care.
to me sets the impression I get is that perfect mixture. You know, when you go by the barman and after going by plenty other barmen all over the place, they mixing your drink right, and you finally get a man who know how to mix your drink. You know, you
Yeah.
taste it and it's like, this is what my drink's supposed to taste like. That is what I see with Ten Hag. That is the feeling I get.
For
That
me,
perfect sense of self-confidence, self-awareness, but club
And club.
awareness. The club is great. It's not just I great. The
the
club
club.
is great, and I want to try to help this club return to greatness. And that is something that I don't think we've seen from any one manager before. Because
From,
even though we know
mm,
Ole was like one of us, like a fan running the club, the problem with Ole again was that the chair was probably a little too big. You know what I mean? He couldn't follow the chair. But Ten
Too
Hag
much of
looked
that people
comfortable.
pleaser. That's the issue with him.
Yeah. Right? You know, but
Nice guy.
Ten Hag looked comfortable in the chair, and it doesn't seem to be too big for him at all. So, like you all, I feel confident, and not confident to say, well, yeah, 21 is coming,
nah,
but
but you just,
confident enough to feel that we will be moving in the right direction next season. You know, I really want to thank you guys, CJ,
yeah.
Edwards, Trevor. Thank you all for being part of the United Hour and our assessment of Ten Hag's first interview and press conference. Remember, keep it locked to the United Hour. We have a lot of content for you all, keeping it real and relevant throughout the off season. And we have some really exciting stuff coming up for those who living in Trinidad and Tobago. So we're going to keep you all connected and involved with that. Remember, Red Devils, we don't die, we multiply. And Ten
Yeah.
Hag is here.